Hi, my name is Mike Mayone. I am the host, and welcome to Trick or Treat. A little rough start there. Hey, Sam Slavin's watching. Thank you for tuning in, Sam. We have a great show planned today. We have none other than Eric DeCamps. He's my guest today, and we're going to go look at some great old pictures of Eric and talk about some of the shows he's done and all of the fantastic experience he's had as a magician from years and years and years of entertaining. But we're going to start as we do most weeks with a little something from our favorite dead mentalist, Alexander.
Greetings, friends. It is I, Alexander, the man who knows. And I am here to take you on another journey through the adventures of your mind and your imagination. So, for today's experiment, what I want you to do is take your hands, hold them up in front of your face, and clasp your hands together like this. Now, extend your index fingers out. Perfect. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to separate your index fingers like this, holding your hands tight and your index fingers apart. Close your eyes and imagine that there are two magnets on each side of your index fingers. And they are very powerful, and they are drawing your index fingers together. Slowly they are moving until they finally end up touching. And now, open your eyes. Hopefully, your index fingers will be touching. It was the power of your mind that made your fingers move. Thank you and have a nice day.
Oh, are your fingers touching? Mine are. Power of the mind. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, I hope you'll give us a thumbs up, and I hope you will subscribe to our channel. We could use a few more subscribers. Yeah, definitely. Subscribe. Yeah, we could use you as a subscriber for sure. And then you'll get to know all about the different shows that we have coming up and what's going on. Hey, every week I like to do a little something with this.
Fact or fake news, fact or fake news, fact or fake news.
Yep, time for fact or fake news. And this week's fact or fake news statement relates to our guest in a little way, in a big way, actually. Here is our fact or fake news statement. You have to determine if it's fact or fake news. The Magic Townhouse was a magic performance venue on Manhattan's Upper East Side in the 70s and 80s. It was founded by Dorothy Dietrich and Dick Brooks. It showcased both new and established magicians to the general public for 15 years. Is that fact or fake news? If you think you know, well, then let us know. Just type the answer in the comments, and perhaps you'll be right, and you will win this super medal. But we don't tell you if it's fact or fake news until the end of the show. So stick around, and you'll learn. Okay. Hey, I like to we have a little segment that we do every week, and it's called Magic Shorts. So here's the intro for Magic Shorts. Geoff Williams has provided us with a magic short for this week. So get ready for Geoff Williams. So that was our good friend Geoff Williams. And hey, Paul, thanks for joining us today. And Paul suspects that our fact or fake news statement was a fact today. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We will see. Hey, if you want to see more Geoff Williams, he's got. You can see more of his magic shorts at JeoffWilliamsMagic.com, and you'll be able to see more right here because Geoff has said we could show as many as we like of his little shorts. I just love them. They're great. You know, every week we like to scour the internet to find things that are, well, interesting. Today's interesting thing is we're going to look at some really weird inventions. Ah, now you understand. That was the first shot we saw. That was the first picture we saw, yes. This is a pretty interesting thing. You know, it's cold or flu season, and, you know, you have that runny nose, and you just can't bring enough tissues with you. I think my invention, which was just, just a tie and a knot and a toilet paper roll just hanging from my neck, provided better visibility. But you know, everybody's different. This is an interesting invention for sure. Now, this is really actually a very clever invention. These are hairy stockings. You know, sometimes guys can be really, really, really crude, and and they can ogle a young lady. So if she puts these on, they're not going to want to ogle her very long because they make her look hideous. I think it's a great invention. This I'm not too sure of. This is a dog umbrella. When you go out to walk your dog, if you don't want him to get wet, you can use this umbrella with a leash attached to it. It's a pretty clever little invention, I guess. Of course, she doesn't give you any protection. Now, everybody's attached to their smartphone these days, but what if you have to carry something in one hand and you're stuck with your phone in the other hand and you want to text somebody? Well, this is the invention for you. It's a nose, well, I guess it's like a pen nose or what, I don't know. You can just write with your nose. It's definitely clever. I'm not so sure. I don't think you want to do this on the subway. No, I don't think so. This is actually kind of cool. I mean, if you like fancy colored foods, you can get these cans of edible spray paint. So if in this case this is a gold chicken or a duck, I guess, I don't know, but it's painted gold with spray paint. So you can have a red chicken if you like, or a green chicken, whatever your heart desires. Hey, it might be nice. Valentine's Day is coming up. Maybe you want a red chicken, right? And you can make it any color you want. Now, sometimes butter can just you spread it on your bread and you break your bread. You tear your bread apart. Your toast gets all mushy. So this is just sort of like a lipstick butter stick, which is very handy, I guess, if you don't want to use a knife. I like this one. This is kind of a clever one. If your noodles are a little too hot, you can use these chopsticks with a fan attached. So, you can get a little tough, always blowing. So this is just a constant stream of cool air to cool down your soup. Very, very clever. Sam, yes, the spray paint is edible. It's edible spray paint. Now, this is for the dieter. And the magicians will get a kick out of it too. This is, see, there's a half a bowl and it has a mirror on it. So it looks like it's a full bowl of whatever it is that you're prepared for yourself. But it's actually just a half a bowl. So you think it's a psychological thing. You think you've eaten more than you actually do. Very, very clever. Don't want to mess up your hands when you're in the kitchen and you're constantly wiping on your backside. this is what you need. These little handy wipes that stick to your butt cheeks. And then you can wipe your hands and not have to soil your pants. Very clever, very clever. Control Alt Delete. What are they? That now? No, whoever thought of that? That is the silliest way to turn your computer on or off. And if you're one-handed, it's kind of hard to reach all those keys all the way across the keyboard like that. So here's a clever little invention, so you can get that 3-key combination easily. Very clever. You like to take a little nap on the train, on the subway, but you don't want to fall over onto the person sitting next to you? Well, this little suction cup helmet holds your head right in place. Right in place. Ah, clever. He's got his umbrella with him every day when he goes to the office. Just looks like a tie. Very good. You like nature? You like to walk in the grass, but you're on pavement? These are the shoes for you. That's right. Sandals that are made of grass. Well, they have artificial turf right on there. So it always feels like you're out walking in nature. Isn't that nice? And you have a kid that crawls around. Why not put him to work? Let him mop the floor while he's scooting around the kitchen. I think that's clever. Now, this has got to be my favorite. I think this is a really cool thing. You have somebody, your spouse, you ask your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend to scratch your back, but they can never find the exact spot that you want your back scratched. You need this shirt with a little cardboard key, and so all you need to do is tell her A5 or E5, and she'll find the exact right spot on the back of your shirt and scratch right there. Isn't that clever? That's a clever device. That is a clever device. So there you go. There are some weird inventions. Maybe one of them will interest you. Go look for them on the internet. Many of them are still available. Yeah, you can buy them. They might make the perfect Valentine's gift for you. I know the shirt is a good one. The shirt is a good one. And hey, it's time for me to do a little magic for you. So I have a little piece that I recorded the other night, and I want to share it with you right now. When I was young, my favorite part of every magic show I attended were the grand illusions. And the one I liked the best, that was where the magician was bound up, locked in a box, and somehow managed to vanish and reappear in some unbelievable location. I'm going to demonstrate the trick for you using these cards. We'll pretend one of these cards is our magician. We'll pick a jack. The Jack of Diamonds. He'll be our magician today, and we're going to lock him between the 10 and the Queen. He's locked in that position, and then we'll put him into the box. And as they did on stage, we'll lock the box, and we'll show the front of the box, we'll show the back of the box, we'll show the bottom of the box, we'll show the top of the box, so it's clear to everyone there is no way for our magician to escape. But when they open the box, it's clear our magician is gone. He's vanished. He's not here among the red cards. He's not here among the black cards. He's not here among these red cards. He should be right here between the Queen and the 10. But no. Perhaps he's just hiding. No, the magician has vanished. But that's not where the trick ends. Because in a moment, a light goes on in the back of the theater. Everyone turns to look, but they see nothing. Where could he be? And just then, in a flash, the magician appears. I still have no idea how he did that. Ooh, a little feedback there. Well, hi. Did you enjoy that? I hope you did. That was my little contribution, magical contribution for tonight's show. And now it's the most important part of the show. It's when I get to introduce my guest. But I never like to introduce my guest myself. No, I like to have a little piece of video to introduce our guest, and I have some video to introduce our guest tonight.
All I have to do is just give it a gentle rub. It should melt right.
Welcome, Eric DeCamps.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Michael. I was just ordering my hairy leggings. You caught me a moment. I just was ordering them. Yeah. For me, of course.
Of course.
How are you, Michael?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Eric?
How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
Getting by on this crazy time.
Oh, it's
Good.
maddening.
So far, so good. Now much better because I'm here.
And
Much better now because I'm here with you, pal.
yeah, well, thank you very much, and thank you for joining me tonight. Have you had a chance? Have you been able to perform much? During the pandemic?
I have a question before I answer your question. How do I look with a turban on? There I am. Look at that.
It
I'm-
fits you
I'm the
perfectly.
man that knows. Okay. All right. No, I've done a few things online, and I've done. I actually did last September. I did a COVID show in New Jersey. It was with COVID protocols at the Sparta Avenue stage in Sparta, New Jersey. It's a beautiful little theater that my friend Joe and Diane Carcetti own, and it's a great venue. And we were very careful, and I did 2 shows, and it went pretty well.
Oh, that's great. That's great. It's been so disappointing that we can't, for the most part, we really can't get out and perform much. It's like everybody I talk to who's a performer is missing that the thrill of being on stage and forgetting their lines and wondering if thankfully, they have some video that they can look at so they can remember the routines that they do. I know I've already forgotten much of what I do. So, in Sparta,
It's true.
yeah, in Sparta, did you do your regular material or did you do something new there?
I put together a show because it had to be a touchless show. So
Of
I
course.
went through my material, put together a group of material, and it was about a 70-minute performance. And I tried out this new piece that I've been working on for the last longer than I care to admit, and it was very well received. So it was a great experience. I mean,
Yeah.
they're great people.
Yeah.
And it's a great location. It's just a really wonderful place.
And now, you, like most magicians, I know I've seen you perform many times. In fact, I have. You've been at our theater on Long Island, the Parlor of Mystery. So I know you involve your audience a lot. But
Yep.
you have a very big repertoire. So this doesn't surprise me that you could find enough material to do that doesn't involve audience participation, so to speak. The new piece, was that
Well,
mostly demonstration kind of magic, or I guess it had to be because you couldn't use
yeah, it's hands off. It's a good performance piece, but it's I redesigned some of the routines that I do so that I wouldn't have to hand them out. It's not as impactful. I mean, it really affects guys like us, where we perform at parlors, or I prefer, my real training is, of course, parlor magic,
Right.
and it affects us. It affects us because we want that close proximity from your audience, because the amazement is that much stronger when you do a wonderful piece. And so and it's hard because I like getting in there. I like, rolling up my sleeves and mixing into the audience and having fun and creating these little moments that are interesting and intriguing. That's what I try to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you mentioned that it took you didn't want to tell us how long it took you to develop the piece that you presented in Sparta, the new piece that
The piece that shall be nameless.
yes, the piece that shall be nameless. In any event,
That shall,
how,
piece that shall be nameless.
you say
No,
it took, you take a look. You spend a fair amount of time, I know, doing research when you develop a routine. I don't think I don't think any of your magic is the kind of magic that you haven't invested a fair amount of time, a good amount of time in developing before you present it. Unless you have a dream one night and come up with something.
Yeah. That's really funny. That's because that's pretty much the premise of the new piece is talking about dreams. But but I do spend a lot of time because it's very painstaking. So some pieces come together fairly quickly, and I can't understand why. But other pieces take. I mean, this particular piece that I've been working on is performance, because it's a performance piece. It's about 35 years in the making.
Wow, that is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I had a lot of problems, and then finally, about a year and a half ago, I said enough is enough, and now I'm putting it together. It's almost there.
Yeah,
it's almost there.
So you must have started it then when you were here. This is when you started developing that piece.
That's when the dream began. That's when the dream began. That's in the 80s at Magic Camp. I believe that's at LaSalle Military Academy out in Oak Brook. I think it's Oak Brook, right? Oakdale. I forget now.
Yeah.
But that's Tanner's Magic Camp. It's pretty amazing. You're walking into the gymnasium and you're wearing a tuxedo. Those were my black tie days.
Yeah, those are black tie.
That's really funny.
Sam says you were a bit lighter then as well, a bit thinner then.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sam.
And a lot younger too. And my hair was a lot darker.
Yeah.
See how dark my hair is here?
Did you say that was
a lot darker? I was a lot thinner.
Was that Tannen's camp? Did you say that previous picture was that Tannen's camp?
Yes, that was Tannen's Magic Camp in here. I made a lot of friends. Yeah, I've made a lot of friends there that I still keep in contact, like Steve Cohen, Steve Chiffo, and Steve Barnes. There's a lot of young people that I've seen grow up, and some of them have become phenomenal magicians. Michael Carbonaro being one of them. I remember Michael Carbonaro as a kid, and we're all watching. We're like, wow, the next David Copperfield. Yeah. And now he's like this tremendous TV star. It's great.
Now, when you were there at the camp, you were there as a performer or a teacher or a student? You weren't a student there.
I would no. I was too old.
You're too old. Okay.
I wish my mother had the money to send me there. And I started magic late. I started magic around 17, 18 years old. And so I was already out of that age group. But first time I went there, remember, I've been going there since 1984. And I was there with my good friend, Joe Devlin. And it was an incredible experience, the enthusiasm. And so that's why, because they kind of recharge your energy to want to work on material, getting together with these young people who have these, starry-eyed, and they're just, just so enthralled with the art, and they just really re-energize you on that. So I used to love to go every year and have fun with the kids.
Yeah. Now, what is this manuscript, the Tannen's manuscript? I don't think I've ever seen one. What exactly is it?
That was a magazine. There used to be a magazine called Magic Manuscript that was originally founded by Adam Fleischer, who used to do the New York Magic Symposiums in the 80s. Those great conventions. The first two of the best conventions I ever been to in my life. I mean, they were just phenomenal conventions. Then Tannins bought the rights, I think, in the late 80s, bought the magazine from Adam and started publishing it. And they published. Sam has it. Okay, Sam. and they did an article for me because at that time video cassettes were just coming out and teaching magic on video. And Tony Spina, who was the owner of Tannins at the time, had asked me to do a video. He came to see a lecture I did, and he was very very pleased with what I saw. So he asked me to do a video on some of the material, and I was very friendly with Tony for many years.
Great. So that's not the only magazine cover you've been on. I know you've been on some others, and we'll take a look at them. But this is
that's a very special picture.
Tell me about it.
Very special picture, because that was a nightclub. That's the Mostly Magic nightclub. I was there for about 12 and a half years, performing probably 45 weeks a year, every weekend. And that particular photograph was taken by a very famous magician today. His name is Steve Cohen.
Oh my!
And he sent that to me a few weeks ago, and he said, "I found this. I thought you should have that." And he's specifically, that was my opening trick right there, where I would make a deck of playing cards appear out of a folded deck based on a Paul Harris concept. But I did it. It was a stand-up version. It was very, 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 very startling piece. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. Did that for years.
You were there at Mostly Magic for 12 and a half years. You know, I think I went there just once in my life, because that was when I was just first becoming interested in magic. But that was like the tail end. I don't think it was open for much longer after that time that I went.
They closed in April. They closed at the end of middle of April, 1993.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just about that. Yeah. That makes sense.
It was a very, very sad day, because I got to tell you, I made a lot of friends there, lifelong friends. It was a core group of people that performed there, and we became very tight. And it was a great place because you could develop material. Your friends would watch you. They would sit in the audience, watch you, critique you to help you better. There was no real egos between the young quote lions at the time.
Yeah, it looked
we all helped each other.
Yeah,
we all helped each other.
It was kind of like a nightclubby type place, wasn't it? I mean, I kind of remember
yes,
in a little table and very, very close to the stage.
Yeah. It was 126 seats, if I remember correctly. There's another picture. That's from left to right. That's Bob Elliott, Aldo Colombini, Imam, who was the owner of Mostly Magic, along with his wife, Evelyn Simon. And that is young Eric. Yeah, with his fancy jacket there, straw collar, big shot.
Now, when I went there, I saw Imam, and he did an illusion with. It looked like cue balls, and he would produce them from his mouth.
Yeah,
startling. It's just amazing.
The balls from the mouth.
Yeah,
which is one of the balls from the mouth, which was a signature piece of his. Yeah. And boy, did he floor them with it. It's a beautiful mystery that he would do with. I mean, he had incredible comedic timing, even though he tried to play it straight in certain routines. But he always had great comedic timing. He was a good actor. He was a really good actor, Imam.
Yeah. That was the one and only time I saw that routine, and I don't think I've seen anybody do it since then. I feel lucky I got to
not like Imam. No one did it like Imam. No one did it like Imam. No one did it like him. Oh, look at that! Oh,
here's some more.
That was at a party. That was at a party at Peter Maloney's townhouse that he had
Mhm.
in, I think, in the Upper West Side, and that's Bob Fitch. Yeah, and that's David.
David Roth.
May he rest in peace,
Yeah.
David Roth,
Yeah.
and little old me with another jacket with a shawl collar. Very snazzy. Very
Now,
snazzy.
now you've worked with, or Bob has worked with you, I guess, off and on and over the years. You've known Bob a long time, and I think didn't he?
Yeah, well-
did he direct one of your shows, or produce it?
Yeah.
What was the relationship you had with Bob?
Well, what happened was in like around 2006, I got the itch because I hadn't done public shows in a long time because most of the Magic nightclubs were closed, and I got this itch to do a public show. So, at the first time I did it was at the 3 West Club, and but I knew I needed a director, so I went to my dear friend who also was a graduate of Tannen's Magic Camp, a guy by the name of Steve Chiffo, and Steve was an actor, magician, all around great guy. And he said, yeah, I'll help. I'll work with you on it. And we developed it. We would get together every weekend and for like about 10 weeks. And we work on the structure of the act, the choreography, the sequence of materials. And that was a 90-minute show with no intermission, 90 minutes, no intermission. And then at that, my final performance at the 3 West Club, that was in Rockefeller Center. It was a great location, great little room. It was the Lincoln Room, was the actual room in the 3 West Club. And we had this gentleman that came to see me. He had heard about me, and he came to see me. And at the end of the show, he said, they said, this gentleman wants to see you, and his name was Chris Mazzilli. Now, Chris Mazzilli is the owner of Gotham Comedy Club, famous club, one of the top 5 comedy clubs in the country, in the world.
Mhm.
And he also had another nightclub called the Metropolitan Room. So he asked me if I would meet him there, and I did about a week or so later, and we had lunch. And as soon as I walked into this Metropolitan Room, Mike, I have to tell you, it was like going through a portal, time portal. And I walk into this room. It was like a 1940s club with the booths in the back, tables, a real nightclub. And I could just see Vernon. I could see people like Vernon. Actually, and I knew he had me at hello because once I saw the room, I said, I got to work this room.
Right.
So what happened was I had known Fitch for many years, and we had talked about him directing me back in about 2000, 2001. And it didn't come out. It didn't work out at that time. But I called him, and he said, yeah, I'll work with you. I'll direct your show. And we sat down, and we worked on the show. And it was interesting because he said to me, all right, so he saw the video because I recorded all my videos, all my shows with Mike Goldman used to come and videotape me. And I showed him the video, and he looked at it and goes, it's a good show, but we can tweak it. And he goes, I got to get it down to 70 minutes because they only wanted a 1-hour show at the Metropolitan Room. I convinced him to let me do 70 minutes. I let him stretch it out to 70 minutes. So I had to cut 20 minutes from the show and change some of the presentations and some of the dynamics of the routines. So I showed Fitch, and I said, hey, Fitch. I said, Bob, all right, so that's the show. Tell me what I need to cut out. And he says, oh, no, I'm not telling you. That's your choice. You have to pick. I'm going like, I can't take every little one is a child of mine.
Right.
And I can't just, kill them. And he says, no, you got to make the choices. So I sat down, and it took me a week or two to finally decide what I was going to take out and rework what I had. And then we worked really hard, man. And for about 8 to 10 weeks again, every Saturday we'd spend the day before they opened up for business. I was able to convince the owner to let me come there, and I wanted to rehearse in the room that I'm going to present. It makes sense. And it worked out great. I had a blast. It was just and I did 3 runs there, and it was great. 3 8-week runs, and it was a lot of fun.
Where is the Metropolitan Room? Where exactly is that in New York?
The Metropolitan Room doesn't exist anymore. I just found out
goodness.
It closed about 3 years ago. Yeah, because the lease was up, and the landlord wanted to raise his rent like 10 times. So he said, "So long."
Yeah, yeah.
So that's at 4F.
Oh, is it
That's
really?
me going left to right. That's me. That's yeah. That's John Pierre Valerino, JP Valerino, the late great Gary Roulette, Hiro Sakai, Leonard Green. I don't know the young Asian young man in the back, and then that's Miguel Gomez and Amilcar Riega. Those two are from Spain, and that guy on the left is phenomenal. The guy on the right, I cried laughing all the time we were together. And he's also a very good magician. He's a professional magician out of Barcelona, excuse me.
Yeah. What year would you
And
think that was?
I look at that picture and it brings, I would say that's probably 92, 93.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say 92 because that was the year after I went to FISM. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Linda Robbins joined us, and she says she saw the show at the Metropolitan Room, and that it was a great show. So, so a little shout out to Linda. Thanks for joining
really
us,
sweet.
Linda. Yeah.
I remember she came.
Yeah.
She came with her mom. I
Yeah.
fell in love with her mom.
Now you told me this was right here in
That
Huntington. I
picture
did
there,
not know
this is
that.
fun.
This is fast.
That is at Fast Eddie's Silverman club, not a bar, club, whatever.
Yeah.
And he used to do magic shows there. And that was when Renee LeBon spent a week with me at my home in Howard Beach, New York. And I had to come home. You know, I've always maintained a day job, and I did magic on the weekends and at nights and stuff like that. But every night I'd come home from work, and he'd make me drill his lecture 4 to 5 hours a night until I had it down, and to be able to explain everything, to understand everything, and to understand his theories. And it was a tremendous experience for me meeting that man. He was an inspiration.
So
You know, that man is the only close-up.
my question on this was, you were translating for him? Was that why you had to?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Now I understand.
I had to learn it. Well, I was his translator because you know, at that time, I think he spoke like 6 words of English. So, and then later on, I think he went all the way up to 12 words of English. Joking. And he was an inspiration to me. I got to see him in Lausanne, Switzerland at FISM when I competed. And it was an incredible experience to see that man live. I had seen him on video, but to see him live and how he could command an audience and how he was, you know.
Now, where is he from? Where was he from?
Argentina.
Argentina. Okay.
Argentina.
And
Tandil is his hometown.
now,
Yeah, and he's a legend in that town. He's a legend. They erected a statue for him in the park.
right
And
now,
he's on it,
he had one arm, or he performed only with one arm. Did he lose his arm, or was he born that way?
He performed one arm. He lost his hand at about 9 or 10 years old. He was riding his bike, and there was a truck accident, and he lost his right hand. So he does everything with his left hand. And what that man could do with one hand, few people can do with two.
Yeah,
But it wasn't just the fact that he was such a great mechanic and illusion. It was the emotional impact that he had in his stories and his presentations, that he would whisk you away into this incredible zone of wonderment. It was just incredible.
and
I learned a lot by watching him and studying him.
yeah, and he one of his routines, you perform. That's part of your repertoire, is it not?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I do my interpretation of the breadcrumbs, which is what he would call his favorite piece. He would tell me, and I had asked him permission to be able to do that. And after he saw me perform for a real audience at Mostly Magic, he really enjoyed what I did. He really was really enthralled with what I could do. And I had asked him permission that night if I could do the routine. And he said, "Oh, that would be perfect for you, Eric. You could pull it off. I could sense that you have you." And then the homework began, because it was being able to figure out a way to present this trick. I mean, he takes a very basic effect, two in the hand, one in the pocket, and because of his one-handed, it's only happening in his left hand, he had to redevelop it with the cup, and the cup makes it so much more romantic, brings it to a different level. And I had to figure out a way, a two-handed guy, to do how to do that piece with two hands, and it was quite a challenge. But I got the opportunity to show it to him. I had started working on it, and he had asked me. I ran into him in New Orleans. He was performing in New Orleans, so I flew down there to see him at the SAM convention, and I think it was in '93. Yeah, '93, '94. And he had asked me to. He goes, "I understand you're performing it in your show." And I go, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, I'd like to see it." And I just looked at him and laughed. I said, "No, I'm not showing it to you." And he goes, "What do you mean? You're doing it for people?" I says, "I'm not ready for you. I can do it for people. But you're not people. You're Renee Lavande. I can't do this for you. I don't have the intestinal fortitude to I don't have the strength to do that for you yet. I don't prepare it." So it took about 5 more years before I got to show it to him. And when I did show it to him, he had tears of joy. He just was enthralled with the presentation, the execution of it, and it was a life-changing moment for me.
It's
Meeting him and being able to spend time with him.
Sure. And having him work with you on that, with that piece of magic. It's just a fantastic routine. I've seen you do it a couple of times. And I just love watching you do it. It's just it's really fun. And apparently Linda got to see that close up, and because she was a volunteer when you performed it, and when she was watching it. So
yeah, she was. That
was a treat for her. Now I recognize David Dinkins in this picture, as well as George. Right? Isn't that George on the left?
Yes, that's George and Nina.
Right, and Nina.
That's George and Nina Schindler.
And okay,
Mark Mitten behind Mrs. Dinkins.
Okay.
And I just, this is embarrassing. I just blanked out. The gentleman with the mustache. I know him. We were friends. I haven't seen him in years. And then that's me.
Yeah.
And again, another black tie moment. That was an event for Dick. That was an event for Dinkins. He had some invented, and somehow he contacted George, and George put together that group.
Okay.
And we went and performed. It was fun.
You do it?
I remember that. It was a lot of fun.
You didn't twist that balloon now, did you?
No. That was even, I don't think that was me.
I didn't think you did balloons.
My balloon twisting days are a long time ago.
That probably predated your Shannon's experience. Now, I mentioned that you had more than one cover. I just think this is great, because this is the same magazine, separated by 16 years, I think. And it's the MUM, which is, of course, the magazine of...
And 40 pounds.
The Society of American Magicians magazine. And you get to be on the cover not just once, but twice, which is such an honor.
Yeah, it was an honor. It is an honor, because not too many people have multiple appearances, and they're good articles. My friend Steve Schneiderman wrote the article on the one on the left. That's the when I had dark hair, and then the one on the right was there was a cover story by David Casaro. He did a great job too. Both of them did.
David wrote this story.
And there's some good stories, and there's also a lot of good matches. David wrote the story on the one. The one in 2009. Nice. When I was doing the Metropolitan Room. And he did a great job. He came and saw the show like 3 or 4 times, took notes, and he really detailed it and broke down the show very nicely. I was very happy when I finally got a chance to read what he wrote. He's a good writer. He's a good magician.
David is a
Very
super
clever
talented
guy.
man. He's a marketing whiz kid,
Yeah, I
as
know.
well as a super entertainer. Yeah, he's something else.
Another young man that I met at there was another young man that I met at Tannen's Magic Camp. He was a little boy, a young man, when he was a Tannen's camper. That's where I met him originally. Yeah.
So a lot of tennis camp really ushered in a lot of people who went on to become talented full-time magicians. I'm always amazed when I hear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I used to they used to be here on Long Island, and I always enjoyed just crashing the shows that they had there, because they really put together some wonderful shows. It was a great, it still is a great experience for people who want to learn magic. Here's another picture of Renee. Was this at your house?
Yeah, that was at Joe Hernandez.
Uh-huh.
No, that is at Joe Hernandez's house, South Jersey.
Uh-huh.
He was in town doing a tour. Either that or he was doing World's Greatest Magic. I don't recall, but we drove down to meet with him. And I mean, Joe, great guy, really into magic. And Joe would also do the translations because his Spanish is a lot better than mine.
Oh, really?
And he did the translations of World's Greatest Magic, yeah. And we spent the weekend there just hanging out and talking magic. We were talking, I think, coin magic in that particular photograph.
Yeah. How long did you go on tour with him? You said he was here he spent a week with you, but how many lectures did you do with him?
He was on tour. I did. I think I did 2 with him. Then when he did the SAM, he would have Tina Leonard do it. She's terrific at it. And then Joe did it for him for the World's Greatest Magic. He got him a couple other ones too. A couple of the big gigs that Joe would help him out with. Joe Hernandez.
Yeah.
There's my other mentor. That's Bob White in Dallas, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
God damn. That's that man. God rest his soul. He was something special, that guy. And you've seen me do my egg bag routine, right?
Yeah, I've seen you. I have never. I don't know Bob White's magic, so but you're going to tell me that your egg bag routine is inspired by him.
Yeah, I talk about spending a lot of time. I had a premise for an egg bag for about 25 years. I couldn't figure out how to do it right. I mean, the hook was there, but I couldn't come up with a routine. I didn't understand it. And then it was in the late 90s, Bill Kalush, the founder of the Conjuring Arts Research Center, used to have these get-togethers called the New York Card Conference. And I think it was at either the second or third one he hosted at the Barbizon Hotel in Lexington Avenue. And Bill Malone was a really close friend of mine, knows me and knows every type of mat. He knows that I'm really into the classics and reinterpreting the classics. And he knows that I had spent years trying to figure out a presentation or a handling for the egg bag. And so this gentleman walks out of the elevator. He was there at the conference. And he goes, "Oh, there's Bob White." This is like at 3:30 in the morning. And he says, "There's Bob White, the guy with the egg bag." I go, "The guy with the egg bag? Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Eric, that guy is the man with the plan. He is the egg bag king." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." I said, "Do you think?" He goes, "You know him?" He goes, "Yeah, I've met him a couple of times." I says, "Can you introduce me? Because maybe we can." So we go over and he introduced, he goes, "And this is my friend Eric." "Oh, hi, nice to meet you." And we're chatting. And he goes, "Eric's really interested in the egg bag." He goes, "Oh, that's nice." And Bob was a funny dude, man. He was a funny dude, but we just hit it off. I mean, he didn't really like a lot of people. And the people that know him know exactly what I'm talking about. And he said, "Oh, if you guys are crazy enough to stay for a little while, I'll go in my room." I can't do a Texas accent anymore. And he goes, "I'll go to my room and get my egg bag, and I'll show you the egg bag." And I'm like, sure. I'm trying to be cool about it. I'm with Bill, and we was just hanging out, and we're going like, oh yeah, go ahead. He gets into the elevator, and this is us. He's doing the egg bag. He's gonna get the egg bag. We were like two little kids jumping around. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. He comes down, and he does this egg bag routine, and I literally just died because it was so incredible, and he's handling it, his manipulate, and I'm like, Jesus, I've never seen anything like it. And then, of course, when I got to know about, and then the next day I gave him this little treatise that that night I gave him this little treatise on my theory and thinking on magic. And I says, here's something I wrote. Maybe you like it. It's an essay. And he says, okay. He read it. And the next day, one of the meetings that we would have and discussing a card problem, he came up to me. He goes, I read your piece. I says, oh, okay. And did you like it? He goes, I really enjoyed it. And we hit it off. And we started talking. We exchanged numbers, started talking. And then one day I called him up, and it was not easy. It's not easy for me to ask somebody for help in magic. That's not how I was raised and came up in this. I couldn't go to Tana's magic shop, see a Frank Garcia, see a Harry Lorraine, and walk up to him and go, hey, show me a trick. No, I could never do that. That's not that's not how I was raised. So it took me a while, and I said, I really would love if you could help me with the egg bag. And he says, you need help with the egg bag? I said, and at that time, he only had taught his routine to one person, okay, Jason Womack. And he said, well, I'll tell you, if you're crazy enough to come down to Dallas, and I'll teach you the routine.
Wow.
I booked a flight, and I learned it in less than 12 hours. And he's like, I never seen anybody learn something so quickly. I says, Bob, I'm highly motivated.
Yeah.
And then I had the premise, and then I spent another 9 months working on it every single day. You see, you got to understand something. Bob learned it from, here's the provenance on his routine. Bob learned it from Charlie Miller. Charlie Miller learned his routine from Max Malini. So, and each one, as they went from person to person, and so did Johnny Thompson. He learned it from Charlie. And when it went for, everyone had to put their own touch on it to make it their own, and worked on it. So I knew that if Bob was going to invest the time I'm only the second person he ever taught it to, that I would have to put the time and the effort in. So I spent about 9 months every day, 2 to 3 hours working on this thing to get it to work for me. And when I came up and I finally had it together and started performing it, about a year and a half later, I booked a show. We four-walled a room at the Harvey Hotel in Dallas, Fort Worth. And we sold tickets, and we had about 50 people show up. I did a one-man show, did everything, and I did the egg bag. And I did everything. And at that time, I was producing a 20-pound gold bar at the end of the show. And he went crazy with that. But he saw the egg bag, and he goes, Eric, I've never seen anybody do the egg bag like that. You really made a lot of changes. And I says, yeah,
Of course.
I had to. Charlie changed it from Max. You changed it from Charlie. I have to change it from you. And I had to make it my own. And he goes, well, he loved it. He was very happy with it. And I fooled him with it, with the ending. He didn't see it coming. And I fooled him bad with it.
Yeah, you have a splendid egg bag routine, and I just love it. And of course the ending is sensational. And I won't say anything more because it comes out of left
Let's
field.
not tip it. Yeah,
No, not at all. I want people to see that and have the same experience I had when I saw it the first time. It's an absolutely wonderful, wonderful routine. And is this the Metropolitan Club?
No, that is the Three West Club at the Lincoln Room. That was a real parlor show. And we got like, at the first, I think we had only enough seats for 30. And then I was able to finagle and put everything together and figure out to get 52, 53 people in that parlor room. And it was nice because you had that nice fireplace and that mantle. You work in front of that. And that was the 90-minute show. And at that time, that's my next to closing piece, the Cups and Balls,
Right.
at that time.
Now you had 50 people. They were all at the same
Well,
level.
I love
Yeah,
that.
they were all at the same level, right?
Yes. I mean, the people in Yeah, it wasn't a raked house. It's like a big meeting room.
Yeah.
It just has a great feeling. That room just has a really great warm feeling.
Now you weren't on a platform. You
Yeah,
were
and that's
on
right
the
there.
ground. Yeah.
I'm just standing there.
Yeah.
That's it. Monday Night Magic, when I was regional vice president, and I gave out these regional vice president awards. You have one.
I got
I gave
one.
you one
Yeah.
because you deserved it for all the work.
Thank you.
For all the work you do.
Thank you.
And that's Harrison Green. And you come on, all the conventions that you would take photographs, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
always took nice photographs of me.
Thank
So
you.
I appreciate that. So, and that was me honoring Fitch because of all the work he had spent with me and everything he's done for magic. I mean, Fitch has helped so many magicians become better magicians.
We had him on the show a couple of weeks back, and what a portfolio, and what a list of he's worked with to help bring their magic up a notch. It's just amazing, absolutely
Oh
amazing.
yeah,
So yeah, and there's another person in that picture that we recognize. That's Harrison Greenbaum on the
yeah. That's
and he
right.
is,
He was emceeing that night at Monday Night Magic.
yeah, he's knocking it out of the park these days
He
as
was emceeing.
well. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I think he's doing okay. He just got engaged.
Yes, he did. I saw that mentioned on Facebook. He did just get engaged. Yeah. And this is your show, Pure Magic, and we had a version of the show at the Parlor of Mystery.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but that show was at the Magic Castle. The only time I have ever worked the Magic Castle. And they allowed me to do my full show, a 70-minute show at the Peller Theater downstairs. And Max Maven was the booker at the time. And we talked, and he let me do my show. And I did. We were supposed to do one show. Then they asked me to do a second show. And then they did a third. They asked me to do a third show. So I did 3 70-minute shows in one day. Boy, was I tired.
I bet that's a long show.
It was good though.
They don't have most of, I've only been to the Magic Castle one time to see what's going on, but I don't remember them anybody having a 1-person show. They all seem to be you had a set in most of the shows, and so I think that was unusual, isn't it? To have a one-man.
Yes, because at the time they have this room called the Pella. They have a Pella a room called the Pella Theater, and that room is a specialty room, and they do have one-man shows there occasionally, or 2-person shows, and it was an experimental room that the castle had put together, and the other ones, you're right, you would work 3 sessions 7 days a week, and they allowed me to do 3 shows in one day, or mid-afternoon, early evening, and then late evening. And we sold out, packed up, got great reviews. I was very happy. And boy, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. A lot of work.
Yeah.
Very tiring, but worth it.
That's a beautiful place to work. Everybody who works there just loves working there. They treat the entertainment
Incredible.
special,
And the food is good too.
the venues. Each one of the rooms is set up perfectly for the type of magic they present there. You won this is Milbourne Christopher Award. Is that correct?
Yes, that was in 2013 in Washington, D.C. at the SAM convention. And that was the award. That's Mike Miller. And,
Mike.
Oh my God, I'm blanking out. But that's the Milbourne, and that's the Milbourne Christopher Award for that was a tremendous honor. It was very, very nice. They really treated me and my wife very well that weekend as guests. It was really nice.
Oh,
I'm
I'm surprising you with these because we didn't talk about it. Because there's a bunch of pictures from the times that you've been at the Parlor of Mystery, and I'm gonna highlight a couple of them that I really like. This one I highlight because this is your
That's
your
me doing
breadcrumbs,
breadcrumbs.
and that's the trick we were talking about, the routine we were
Yeah.
talking about a little while ago. That Renee worked with you to allow you to do his presentation of the breadcrumbs, which is a wonderful, wonderful routine.
Yeah.
And then this is I think you call it what is it, transmigration? Transmigration, which is
Migration. Yeah, it's based on it's my reinterpretation of Tony Restored. Yeah,
it's
that has its foundations in another hero of mine by the name of John Ramsey, Scottish magician, who had a routine called triple restoration, and I just reworked the whole routine to fit me and fit my style and streamline it. And boy, does that get a great response.
Oh, it's a fantastic routine, and it strikes me, just to go back to something I had said earlier about the amount of time that you spend. It's so obvious that you really think and work hard to put your routine together. I mean, it's not. It's such a complete piece of work. And this one, I just happen to like that picture of you. So I share that.
Yeah, that's a silly picture. That's me making a silly face. Yeah, that's me. That was me doing the egg bag.
Was that?
That's me doing the egg bag.
The egg bag. Right. Yeah. So we have a couple
Yeah,
of.
that's called the egg bag.
And where's this?
This picture is from. That's the TAOM convention 2010 in Austin, Texas. They had booked me to do my one-man show, the Pure Magic Show, and they built that theater for me in the hotel. They built a 175-seat theater. I did the show, I think, 3 times. They had like 600 people, and I was shocked when I walked into that room, and I said, "Oh my God, this is just so beautiful." And they treated me like gold that weekend, and the shows went over really well, thank God.
Yeah.
And my buddy Bill Malone flew in for that specifically to introduce me at the shows.
That was nice of him. The TAOM.
Yes.
I've never been to that
Picture.
convention, and I understand it's just a wonderful convention. It's one of the
Great
ones I hear very, very good things about that.
Very
convention.
good.
And it's it's on my list of conventions I have to get to. Yeah.
You gotta go.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Texas has a lot of great magicians. Not good, great magicians, a lot. When I first started traveling there, when I was meeting with Mr. White, I would go at least once or twice a year, and we get little get-togethers, and boy, those guys are good down there.
And Austin's supposed to be a great city too. So it'll be a fun trip.
That it is. That's me working for the Society of Young Magicians, a branch of the SAM, and that's the New York chapter at that time. And I went in there and spent a Saturday morning with them to coach them and to teach them some magic tricks. And to have fun and encourage them. And again, those kids are all adults now, believe it or not. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, time flies.
And
this
is
yeah. Go ahead, tell us.
That is the memorial for Imam. Yeah, that's the broken wand ceremony. We held that at the Greenwich Village Funeral Home. The owner is interested in magic and a very nice guy, and he let us have this morning to honor our dear friend who had his nightclub down there. And from left to right, that's me. Then there's Mayor. Then right behind Mayor Yedid, there is Margaret Steele. Next to her is Mark Minton, Thomas Solomon, the world's greatest escape artist. Peter Kugasian. Oh God, Peter was so funny.
Funny.
Will Shaw, Todd Robbins, Mr. Peter Samuelson, and of course George. We were all speakers and we all participated. And I organized the the whole broken wand ceremony. Evelyn didn't know if she wanted to have the memorial. She didn't know. And I said, listen, Imam gave an opportunity to so many people. We would all like to honor him. So we talked about it. She didn't want it at first. And then she called me up. She goes, you know what? I was talking to my daughter. Maybe we should do it. And I said, great. So now those are all seasoned professionals. Okay?
Well, that's like a who's who of
Imam's daughters, right?
magic.
You can only see the back. New York Magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he said, and then his daughter, who was 16 at the time, I said, do you want to say a couple words? And she's like, no, I don't want to talk. I'm too shy. And these are all seasoned performers. We all got up and we all had great stories about Imam.
I bet.
It was a very positive memorial. And so at the end, Evelyn winked at me. She goes, she wants to say something. And I said, okay. And that 16-year-old girl got up. She's probably like 4'11" in heels. And she got up behind that podium and she made all of us look like amateurs. Off the cuff, she talked about her father and it brought tears. It was just an incredible moment. And for a very, very, very well-deserved human being, Imam Hussein.
Yeah. We were talking about this a moment ago.
That's me doing trans.
That's a great shot.
Yeah, that's in Buffalo, New York at the SAM.
That's a great shot.
That's a 600-seat theater.
Yeah.
I did that in a 600-seat theater. And that's a promotional shot that a gentleman by the name of Thomas Churchill, photographer, took. And I really like that picture.
Yeah. I follow him on Facebook. He's a fantastic artist. Churchill is. Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is. He's very talented. He's very talented.
So it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Our show is called Trick or Treat. Do you have a trick or a treat for me?
Mine.
What's that? Oh, thank you. Do you have a trick or a treat for us?
I can do a trick.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
I can do a trick. I'm a little shy right now, but I can do a trick. Let me just reposition myself.
You reposition yourself, and I will.
It's going to require my table. Can you see the tabletop?
I will. I'm gonna make sure we can.
Oh. Okay. So here's the deal. And I want to clear up a misconception what people have about magic, that they think that the hand is quicker than the eye. Nothing could be any further from the truth. And let me give you a demonstration, because I developed this piece specifically to dispel that theory that the hand can be quicker than the eye. So I'm going to do this very slowly and deliberately. There are the 4 aces, pack of playing cards, as you can see, and the 4 aces. Right? Besides the 4 aces, I'm going to need 12 random playing cards from the pack. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 random playing cards. Okay? Now, most people understand that the 4 aces represent the highest order in the pack.
Uh-huh.
What most people don't realize is that the ace of spades, he's the leader of the pack. And in fact, in the early 60s, they wrote a little song about it called The Leader of the Pack. These 3 aces will line up heads bowed behind the ace of spades. Now, again, as I said, I'm going to do this very slowly and deliberately to dispel the theory that the hand has to be quicker than the eye. Watch this closely. We take 3 random playing cards. They go on top of the ace of hearts. 3 random playing cards go here on top of the ace of diamonds. The ace of clubs, of course, gets 3 random playing cards. Am I going too quickly for you, Michael? Or
No.
Go down or start again? It's your choice.
Go. Keep going.
Okay. So 3 cards on top of that. And these last 3 cards go here with the ace of spades. So you've been paying close attention, Michael?
I have.
Watch closely. The ace of hearts is like a snowflake in my hands because it just melts away into nothing, gone totally and completely. But it doesn't just disappear at my fingertips. No, no, no. It does something a lot more interesting. What it's done is actually exchange places with one of the random cards with the ace of spades. But don't take my word for it. Here, let me show you. Because there you have the ace of spades, which was all by itself a moment ago, but it's now been joined by the ace of hearts. See that?
Yeah.
Leaving me, of course, with 2 random cards left. All right? The ace of diamonds reminds me of something that the legendary 19th century illusionist Alexander Hermann said. He said, it's one thing to prevent an object from being seen, but to make it disappear completely, that is a beautiful gift. Gone. Now let's see. Let's see. Remember, you had the ace of spades that was by itself. It was joined quickly by the ace of hearts, and now they've been joined by the ace of diamonds, as you can see, leaving just one random card left, and that's the 4 of hearts, right? Watch this closely. If I do this just right, the ace of clubs is the most difficult one of the lot to make disappear. Do you know why, Michael?
I have no idea. Tell me.
Because you're watching so darn closely. Here, and there's only one thing for that ace of clubs to do, and that is exchange places with the 4 of hearts that was there just a moment ago. And when I say that ace is gone, I mean that ace is gone totally and completely. Now, did I prove that the hand does not have to be crooked in the eye? Let's see. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and yes, all 4 aces joined together.
Oh, that was sensational. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was super duper, very beautiful, very, very beautiful. Thank you so much, Eric. That was great. Hey, Renzo Baranti, I think that's how I pronounce it. I know. Says hello.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes, I know, Rick.
yeah, let me put his. He says hello, and Paul gives you lots of kudos for that beautiful routine, and Renzo says that was
that's nice.
that was more than nice, Renzo. That was terrific, and Sam, for some reason or other, he wants to know. Who's your favorite magician with a Gaelic surname?
If I could pronounce his last name, I would. If I could pronounce his last name, I would.
Okay, and Jeff Miller says.
His first name, Sam.
Sam, that's it. Jeff Miller says it was worth the price of the show to see that. In fact, it was. And okay, Renzo says, he's saying corrected. It is excellent. And Bill Krepkis has been watching, and he says it was beautiful. And Joe Devlin has been watching as well.
Thank you, Bill.
And he says,
no, Joe,
that was beautiful.
The Dev.
Yeah. So, so you have a lot of fans watching you, and you did not disappoint them, not even a little bit. Eric, it is truly an honor for me to have spent some time with you, and I am so happy to say and call you a friend. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes. I want to say thank you for inviting me. Mike, we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And, I'm so glad that you're doing this and document magicians and many of my friends. This is really nice, and you do a terrific job. So kudos to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eric. So I can't wait till we have an opportunity to see you live again. And I hope that's coming up real soon, because now with people getting their vaccine, I think it's not gonna be long before we can all enjoy a real parlor show the way it's supposed to be. And I look forward to seeing
I
you.
hope so.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to coming back to the Parlor of Mystery.
And there's always a spot for you there. Thank you very much, Eric. Until next time. So that is Eric DeCamps. If you want to see if you want to, you can go to Eric's webpage. He's got some video there, lots of pictures, and you can find out what he's up to. That's ericdecamps.com. And thank you so much, you folks who have been watching. We have just one bit of business before we say goodbye, and that is to
Factor fake news, factor fake news, factor fake news.
Yep, we have to answer the question, is the Magic Townhouse a performance venue, or was the Magic Townhouse a performance venue on Manhattan's Upper East Side in the 70s and 80s? Was it founded by Dorothy Dietrich and Dick Brooks? And did it showcase both new and established magicians to the general public? And I see we have a couple of people saying it was a fact. Well, let's just see.
First of all, it's a fact. Okay, nobody knows more about facts than I do, believe me, and that's a fact. It's a fact.
Yes, it was a fact. It is a fact. And that's it. That's the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely do subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Share the show with your friends. Come back next week. Next week we have Nick Lewin is going to join us. So I hope you come back next week. Until then, have a magical week.